I would say this looks pretty good for Druid.
Yeah, Drew's getting the Wild Growth, getting the Shade of Nax, and the Piloted Shredder as early as they possibly can come out effectively. So Hyped has a pretty good hand. What are the most important cards in this matchup for Trump? Is it Shield Slam as soon as possible, or
I think the single most important card is probably the Death Spite,
that
which
that's by that he's got? Yeah.
he does have that, but he's going to need a lot more than that. Another good card is like the Piloted Shredder for Trump. If he plays like the Piloted Shredder in his deck, Druid. The problem with Warrior versus Druid a lot of times is they fail to. They're not very good in the mid game, and they fail to if they don't draw Sledge Belcher and Shield Maiden on curving out on turns 5 and 6, then they're gonna have a hard time contesting the Druid board. And if Trump runs Piloted Shredder and he can play it on turn 4 and curves out just as well as the Druid, then that's gonna be an advantage to him.
Yeah, well, he didn't keep the Death's Bite, which I have to say I found a little surprising, but he picks up, I mean, Hype picks up an Innervate here, which is going to make his future turns even better. He's considering, perhaps, getting the Shredder out now, Wild Growth turn 3, and then getting the Druid of the Claw and Curve, but we'll have to see. Do you think playing the Shredder now is better, generally speaking?
I would
Do you
have
keep the
to.
Innervate for Ancient?
I would have to play out my next few turns. I like Wild Growth here. The problem with innervating out a Pilot Shredder, it's kind of somewhat more all in if your opponent has like a Fiery War Axe.
Yeah, like in this exact case. So that would be a bit of a problem because you're trading 1 for 1, if not 2 for 1, because you are in fact feeding the Innervate into it.
So Trump's hand, it's somewhat okay. Acolyte is another one of those key cards you want in the early stages of the game, and Fire Wax will deal with this Piloted Shredder perfectly. It's kind of funny because like previously in Druid versus Warrior, the Fire Wax didn't get any value because the Druid didn't run any minions with 3 health. Like
3 health.
This was before Zombie Chow, before Piloted Shredder, where like the smallest card was pretty much like a Yeti. But right now, because Piloted Shredder exists, Fire Wax does get more value.
Alright, Trump decides to Shield Slam the Piloted Shredder to keep his armor up and possibly get himself some Fire War Axe value down the line. Wants to see what comes out of it, because if you War Axe, then your Shield Slam is less likely to work since your armor will be low, so using it now is a safe bet.
Yeah, I don't think it's a play many people would have made, but it's certainly a very interesting one. Like, if you go, Fire War Axe against a 4-3, that's like something you generally like just do off the top of your head, right? Like, if you have that against a 3 health creature, yeah, why not? But this works as well, and Trump actually curves out slightly better, getting to fit in more armor ups into his plays.
And they're so important as well, because once the combo hits, you want to be as high as possible health-wise, and this is generally the biggest problem that Warriors run into, is they get beat down slowly but surely during the game, taking 5 here using weapons as removal, and then you just take 1 big burst of damage and the game's over.
Yeah, to be honest, that was actually probably one of the best starts Hyped could have hoped for. Outside of a Shade, pretty much Wild Growth into getting a really quick Ancient of Lore is just so awesome. I would say like the key cards in the deck for Druid versus Warrior are the Wild Growth and the Ancient of Lore, and of course the Innervates. And Hyped got all 3 of those cards, which is just amazing. There's so much tempo there's like so much tempo Hyped is gained right now, and then he'll pretty much always have the initiative until a Brawl. And even after that, the Brawl takes up 5 mana, and Druid will be able to take initiative once again.
Yeah, that's the biggest deal, is getting the initiative is one of the biggest things you want to do as Druid. You don't want to give your opponent a turn where you're not punching the face and removing some armor, at least. So that's exactly what you want to do, and he's in a position to do that pretty effectively. Better yet, he even has the ability to, Wrath for draw if he wants to, or Wrath for 3 and then Keeper of the Grove, or even a bigger board presence, which will put Trump on the back foot even further.
Yeah, I really like this play from Hyped because Hyped has a lot of cards that are like, they do damage, but he doesn't have that many solid minions in his hand. It's pretty much Druid of the Claw. So you kind of want to balance his hand slightly, getting rid of the cards that do damage. So now he has like 2 cards that do damage and they're situational, and 1 card is a solid minion.
Yeah, and Trump wants to either establish board presence with Sylvanas, but that doesn't feel good at all because the first one was played. He would get the edge on it, but he's dead to Savage Roar if he does that. So he can't really risk playing Sylvanas, but if he brawls, the value he's going to get is very minimal. He's going to remove 2 minions, which is pretty okay, but one of them is going to stay up and deal 5 further damage, so that's going to bring him down to at least 15, and that is not something you feel comfortable doing.
Yeah, Trump could be planning like a Sylvanas into Brawl next turn, but again, like you said, it's vulnerable to Savage Roar, and it's also vulnerable to the second Keeper of the Grove in Hype's hands. Trump doesn't know that. He assumes that because Hype has played one Keeper, then he probably doesn't have a second one, but he's going to be sorely mistaken.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem, and Hyped is probably just going to go face at this point, to be honest. It feels like with plays like these, you've got Druid of the Claw, you can charge up for 4 more. You've got a total of 16 on board. Can you really afford not picking it up when you've got a turn 9 swipe Druid of the Claw number 2?
So, if Hyped actually goes for this play, let's see how much damage that's. He puts Trump down to, okay, to 8. So, if Trump brawls, obviously like Hyped is gonna charge here. So if Trump brawls, the best case scenario is he gets like a Sylvanas, or he steals a Sylvanas, right? And then he has one more. He can still armor up, but that still
but he'd
means
still
he's
be dead. Yeah.
Exactly.
So ultimately, I think Hype picked up after that second Druid of the Claw came up, I think you can't afford not just going full face. I think it's too strong not to do. Because seeing Singer the Druid of the Claw when you have a swipe in hand guarantees you're going to get 9 damage, and he gets the 4 forward charge though. Is that impactful at all? Actually, this might just be what he needs. We have a shield block that's going to put him out of range of the immediate lethal. He needs to find shield slam off of it though.
Yeah, if he gets shield block into armor into shield slam, he can actually survive to the next turn.
Wow, that would be insane.
That's such a small chance.
What about even Whirlwind would work,
Yeah,
right?
Whirlwind would be excellent.
Oh, there's no way. There is no way.
You know, that is what we call in the industry a huge draw.
A huge draw. Oh my goodness. Trump picks up exactly the cards that he needed. And Hyped is not a...
Wait. No. Oh! Trump, what are you doing?
He's still alive, though. No, he's not. Oh my
he's
god.
Not alive.
Mistake! Jiraxis would say that. Oh well, Hyped is gonna pick up the game because Trump didn't armor up and decided to play the greedy Acolyte of Pain. But I guess he was already playing around combo, so ultimately it would, like, in his mind, it didn't matter much, right? Yeah, it's just that's one more win condition that you put yourself into.
The thing is, it didn't play around. It didn't play around Druid of the Claw into Swipe or Druid of the Claw into Savage Roar. So, oh man, Trump looking a little confused here.
Yeah,
there's no combo from Trump, and we do indeed see that it's gonna be Mech Mage.
I'll fix you. I don't know if Trump's gonna get fixed, but Hype does have the cards now. The most important cards for Hype, in effect, like he needs to get that early board presence that sticks around, but getting the Archmage later on is crucial in this matchup. If the Warrior can actually weather down the aggression that you're putting on early, then you're in a really bad spot.
Yeah. So, okay, so one thing I have to note about Hype's deck, I'm actually very familiar with Hype's particular Mech Mage because I've just casted a lot of games from him. There's 3 cards in his deck that are really interesting that Mech deck doesn't have. He runs the Harvest Golems instead of Spider Tanks, and he just adds in 1 Blingtron, and you can see like pretty much he has both those cards in his hand right now. They're very interesting tech choices, and I have to feel like it's because he's on Tempo Storm, because he has influence from Reynad that he runs.
Yeah, I mean, Blingtron is essentially Tempo Storm's Mech Mage tech at this point, right? That's pretty much the most played, the most teched in card from them. That's the place I've seen it most.
Yeah, exactly. Reynad is actually the father of...
The father of everything.
Of Blingtron.
Yeah, of everything, including Blingtron.
Yep.
Alright, so the Cogmaster will fall down. There's gonna be 1 armor given here to Trump. 2 over the course of the entire Armorsmith's life, so it's not really that bad. It basically traded. It's basically a better armor up in this position. You just get 2 armor plus the ability to trade away into a minion.
Yeah, I think Hypes will give his opponent a few, some more armor. Yeah. But I don't think it matters too much. Just like the health in this matchup isn't really as valuable as the board positions. We can see this is one of those positions where the Harvest Golem is slightly better than the Spider Tank, because now the Harvest Golem, like, it essentially has more lives. If this were a Spider Tank, it would be a 2 or a 3-2 at this point. But right now it's a 2-1 with a death rattle that summons a 2-1, and that's slightly
Yeah.
better.
That's 2 lines of aggression that Trump has to go through. But he does find a brawl, though, for later. So that's going to be a very important card against Mech Mage. Obviously, if Hype locks down the board with Lotheb, that's going to have to be delayed, but it's really an important one.
Yeah, we do see, as I was talking before in the last match, Trump does run one Pilot Shredder, and it's just going to help him curve out slightly better.
Yeah. So, do you train into that Shredder with the Mad Scientist to get yourself the Mirror Entity right now? Because that way, if Sludge Belcher falls down, you're protected.
It's such a good trade that I would be I'd be hesitant not to do it.
Yeah, that's how good it feels.
Oh yeah, so the other play is you sacrifice your Mad Scientist because you want the mirror image onto the board.
Yeah, I think that's what you want. The Mirror Entity is too good not to take in this position. And the
Oh,
4 hits go to the face. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
now there's no mech. If the 3-2 trades into the 4-1, then there's only 2 damage left to wipe the minion. But if the 2-1 trades, the Cogmaster becomes a 1-2, and there is no mech. It's a 1-1 that comes out. That is as good as it's gonna get for Hyped.
Okay, so Hype's got a little unlucky with the Blast Mage shots, but he got very lucky with the Piloted Shredder, so it kind of balances out. Unfortunately, if you balance out, the Death Spite just gets so much value, and I think Trump is in a fairly good position at this point.
Do you just Blink-Tron it out?
Yeah, I think that's actually the play.
Is it? Because you could play Piloted Shredder and Harvest Golem. The Death Rattle triggers after the Death Bite, so what they spawn would live.
But you override the Death Spite, isn't that really nice?
I guess it is, unless you give them another Death Bite.
That's true.
And then it's a disaster.
Like, the Piloted Shredder just feels like less pressure.
Then Blink-Tron? I guess you put less face damage, because the Mirror Entity is a crucial consideration here. By having it on the board, it's safety against any kind of swing back that Trump might want to make. He's going to have to wait for a proper card to feed into it, but if there's a weapon equipped on Hype's side, it's really going to be difficult for Trump to pick what he wants to feed into it. He might be on a clock by the weapon that Hype gets.
Yeah. I really want to see the Blink-Tron here. Like, isn't the point of Blink-Tron just to overwrite your opponent's weapons in this matchup?
A lot of the time it is, yeah.
There we go. What is it going to be?
We see a Life's Justice for Trump and a Perdition's Blade for Hype. That is not what Trump wanted to see, I don't think. Oh, wow. I mean, sorry.
Oh, that's a pretty good draw. Execute. Pretty sweet.
Yep.
The Life's Justice actually isn't that bad. He can still pop some Divine Shields and kill off some Clockwork Gnomes, I guess.
Yeah, against the Noyotrons. It can be useful. I mean, it's not a dead card by any means, but there's no Death Spite in general. Well, Hyped has to go through 25 more health, but his pressure is possible. Like, he's got a lot of pressure coming up. Oh, wow. He picks up a Tinkertown Technician to go with the Harvest Golem.
Yeah, fairly easy turn. Just play out your curve. And Hyped could actually just consider hitting the face at this point, because he might be scared of something like Harrison Jones.
The only thing I do like about not attacking face is that you can kill off the slime of a Sludge Belcher with the remaining 2 attack, if that's relevant down the line.
Yeah, that's true. Just weighing the options, and I definitely agree with you. I feel like attacking that slime, or the possibility of a slime, is more likely than the possibility of Harrison Jones, because Warrior runs 2 Sludge Belchers and 1 Harrison Jones, right?
Typically, yeah. So now Trump has to make the decision of... You know, what's interesting is that he can actually use Execute with the Life's Justice. Just ping for 1, then execute something, if that comes to be necessary.
That's true. I don't think he wants to take that extra 4
damage though, yeah.
And if you do that, the problem is you peel off your own armor, so you won't be able to activate the Shield Slam on the next turn. So I actually think Trump will go for the Shield Slam here.
And not Dr. Boom.
Oh, well, I mean, it is turn 7.
It is turn 7, yeah. That's the consideration he's got to be making, which is, do I want to play Dr. Boom into Mirror Entity? And the answer is, I don't think so.
I don't think you want to give your opponent pretty much like a fireball to the face, right?
Yeah. The thing is, if he had 8 mana, he'd be able to handle it by playing Shield Slam onto it, but he doesn't. What a conundrum.
That's certainly a disappointing turn if I ever saw one.
Yep.
You
Shield
used
slamming
up
a
pretty
4/4.
much 3 mana on that turn when you had 7 to work with.
And Dr. Boom on 7.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Archmage Antonidas with the finicky cloak field. Hyped has got to be happy about that one.
I mean, that is the combo that you need to win the game, and I think Hyped is in a pretty dominating position at this point.
Yeah.
Again, nothing that Trump can play. That Mirror Entity is just so key. And it's very nice from Hyped just to suicide in his Mad Scientist on the turn before.
Oh man, was Trump gonna play Grom into this? Because this is essentially allowing the mage to ping it off. I don't think that's an option. So you could execute Lothab if you attack into it, right?
Yes, that is true.
He's gonna opt to set up a brawl for next turn. I wonder if Hyped is gonna read that.
It'd be pretty amazing if he got something like Armor Smith into Brawl too. But I don't think, like, this doesn't play around Brawl, but honestly, like, it's just too good to pass up at this point.
Yeah. You get a free Fireball. At the very least, you get one. There's a chance your Archmage survives through Brawl, so it's not that horrible, honestly. The 6 damage you've got in hand is really meaningful. Well, let's see what Trump picks up. He finds a Sludge Belcher. Oh, a little off cure for that Brawl. If the 2-1 lives, Trump may yet be okay. Oh, goodness.
Killing off Archmage Antonidas is always very good, and Trump might be back into it, but the thing is, like, you always have to consider the Mirror Entity that's still on the field.
Yeah,
If that
that
Mirror
is
Entity weren't
clogging
up,
the game.
yeah, exactly. If that Mirror Entity weren't up, then Trump would actually be in a pretty good position at this moment.
Unfortunately. Alright, so Snowchugger comes down saying, yeah, I probably won't allow you to play into any weapons. Alright, so Trump has to feed a Sludge Belcher into this. Oh, hello, Gorhal. You will not be missed.
Unfortunately for Trump, I think, at this point. Oh, so Trump is actually... He's still thinking of Gorhaling, which is interesting. Yeah, I think, like, he realizes that he pretty much has to feed an Armor Smith or, like, a Cruel Taskmaster into his opponent's board at this point. The problem with the Gorhal is that no matter what you attack, you're gonna get frozen next turn. So it's essentially like you're using 7 mana for removal that deals damage to your face.
You pop the Shredder, or do you kill a Snowchugger? Alright, he goes ahead and kills the Snowchugger. Can't really blame him. But he knows there's a Fireball in his opponent's hand, so there's 12... There's 12, 13, 14. He's 1 off lethal, actually, right?
1 damage off and...
Yeah, 1 damage off lethal.
Yeah, nothing that he can do here to actually get lethal. You can't really ping your Clockwork Gnome to get like any spare part that does 2 damage.
Thing is, can Trump actually do anything? Shield Block's a good card.
That's a very good card. If he gets an Armor Smith here, maybe? No.
Alex may come in handy. I think you have to drop that Belcher no matter what, right?
Yeah,
you know there's a Fireball in your opponent's hand, so do you have anything to lose? Nothing. Alright. How much is that? Is there a guaranteed lethal? Well, now there might be.
There certainly is at this point. Especially because, like you said, he kept the Perdition's Blade to clear off any slimes from the Sludge Belcher, right?
Yep.
So...
Frostbolt, attack, trade with Clockwork, full phase Fireball. Yeah, that's lethal. Well, Hyped is going to be getting himself the win here. Despite the amazing brawl from Trump, that wasn't enough. That Mirror Entity was way too much. Right? He's going to be exact lethal, in fact. That's what I find really amazing about this. Is that Perdition's Blade being kept might have been what mattered most. Because there might have been a bit of an overkill here.
Well, even
actually, it wouldn't have mattered in this case. Oh, yeah.
Reversing Switch would add even 2 more damage. Yeah. Do you go for the Reversing Switch BM?
I think so. When do you not?
Trump is too nice of a guy.
Hyped is too nice.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem.
At least I wasn't like casting Masan, right?
Well, I think it's even better against the Tempo version than it is against Oil, because Oil tends to burst you down, whereas Tempo plays minions that you can answer as mage. So we'll have to see how that goes, but that Defias Ringleader leads me to believe this may be the same version that we've seen Hype run quite frequently.
Whoa, 2 Defias Ringleaders?
Whoa.
Wait, have you ever seen that? I know Hype really likes Defias Ringleaders. He usually replaces the South Sea deckhand for Defias Ringleaders in his rogue deck, but I've never seen 2 Defias Ringleaders in a deck.
Could this be aggro rogue?
I mean, maybe Hyped built a time machine and traveled back to 2013.
Back when that was all the hype. Oh, it is aggro rogue. Wolf Rider has just shown up here, ready to ride. And Trump is going to be wondering what the hell's going on, but he's got a semi-decent hand to handle this, I'd say.
Yeah,
like, Sludge Belcher and Shield Maiden are just amazing.
So this is like more like backspace rogue or turn 7 rogue from the Chinese scene, right?
Yeah, and Hyped might be running gang ups in aggro rogue. That could be interesting.
Wait, does that make sense? Because you probably don't want to put more stuff in your deck, right?
Depending on what it is. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like Hyped bringing back aggro rogue from the graveyard that it's been stuck in is a complete surprise to me. And by not playing Wolf Rider, he's not even telling his opponent what he might be playing. Trump will see the second Defias and have some doubts, though.
Yeah, I think that's gonna set off some alarms for Trump. Like, why do you have 2 Defias Ringleaders in your deck?
Oh man, Trump's gonna go for the Death Bite.
Yeah,
it's gonna be quite a bit more damage. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one when it does get overridden or, you know, popped, but for the time being, he is taking quite a lot of damage, to say the very least. I mean, look at this.
Oh, this is going to be an unfortunate turn for Hyped. He can't really do anything. If he just puts up a Wolf Rider, that's going to be cleared immediately by the Death Spite. And Trump actually has a really good hand for dealing with this, both dealing with this board and stabilizing. He has the Sludge Belcher for next turn, he has the Shield Maiden to follow that up, and behind that he has a lot of card draw, and he has a weapon in the Fiery War Axe, and a second Death Spite even.
Hyped could still get it done if he finds a good sap. I guess sap would do a lot of work for him in the next few turns, but he's gonna have to get it as soon as possible. Killing the Belcher shouldn't be an issue. Oh goodness. That South Sea deckhand.
So what kind of combos are available here?
Backstab SI, trade into the 3-5 with your dagger. And then maybe clear the slime with South Sea, but that's... I mean, you at that point, you're keeping Tinkers for the Wolf Rider. That's what it means. That's what I don't understand from that.
This is interesting.
Yeah, I like that line of play, actually. It's much better than what I highlight. This is like 20 times better, in fact.
Yeah, so he's able to clear the sludge and put a threat on the board. And
Yeah.
Trump is in a bit of trouble right now. He's at a very low health, and the only way to clear is by equipping something like one of his weapons, probably the Death Spite, and taking even more damage to face.
Yeah. Do you equip Death's Bite, attack the 3-3, then override it with the Fire War Axe?
Oh, that's interesting, but
You might as well armor up, right?
yes, you might as well. It gives you the same amount of health, except for when Tinker Sharp Sword is a possibility.
Yeah, and Hyped has the Wolf Rider anyway to enable the Tinkers, so that's not going to be a problem for him. And I think that might just be game. Yeah, I think that is game. Exact lethal here, I believe, for Hyped. That is a 3-0 from Hyped over Trump. This is just a blowout. This rogue deck coming out of nowhere, surprising Trump, and I think Hype's gonna feel pretty good about that.